Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Let's talk today, sister, about the gift of the contrast. The gift of contrast. The reasons why that your life will be going amazing and then you feel like it's in the shit. The reason why that you'll have been investing time into your marriage with daily text messages and weekly date nights and then suddenly have a massive fight. The reason why that you will feel that you've been investing into your body for a long period of time and then you have an injury, which is what I'm experiencing right now. So about 4 weeks ago, when I was doing my boxing training, I felt like I kind of tweaked my knee and then it progressed to calf and hamstring and then it's kind of full-on sciatica and it's fucking painful. Never experienced it before. It's interesting, as being a chiropractor for 15 years and working with patients that were experiencing these types of things, but really, I mean, most of people that we saw, it was for wellness. They might have come in for a specific kind of ache or pain or injury, but, you know, most stayed on to stay well. And we didn't just see them when they hurt. However, I understand, you know, what they were often experiencing and going through the pain at the very beginning, and now I really understand. Now I really understand. And I have invested in my body for literally decades. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, like it's something that's so important to me. And so when this happened 4 weeks ago, I was like, no big deal. Like my body's going to work through it, and didn't necessarily ignore it, but it was just like, it'll get better and stuff. And it kept getting worse. And I was like, shit. And it really came to a head last week, towards the end of last week. And walking's incredibly painful and driving is especially painful. Had to put off my boxing training on Friday. And my training, by the way, too. I mean, it's been quite modified these last 3 to 4 weeks. And, I've been listening to my body, but at the same time, I got to really listen. My body's screaming at me now, right? So I've been investing more recently. So extra chiropractic care. I've been doing immersion tank floats. I've been icing and foam rolling and massage, and, it will continue. And the biggest lesson, continue until this is really healed, and then I'll continue with more of that, right? And kind of add some things to my regular regime, because clearly the intensity of my boxing training has been catching up with me. And so I haven't been doing the things that are necessary for my body to really recover through them. And that's fine. This is where the contrast comes in. This is where contrast is a gift, because I've realized in all of this, sister, how well that my body actually functions on a regular basis. Like how thankful I am for the time and energy and money that I put into my body to have it function the way that it does. 48 and at whatever age I was, or I am. Like so thankful for that. So to the point of when I don't have that full function and I go, damn, I'm thankful that I normally do. See, the contrast is necessary. We can start to take some things for granted, can't we? And that can be with your health, that can be with your relationship, your marriage, with your kids. It can be with your business and work. We start to think, and we start to do, this, it's like it becomes the normal, right? So for me, when people say things like, well, how do you have so much energy? How do you still look that way at 48? And how do you, it's just like, well, this is the way it is right now. Or how do you have a marriage like this? And, lots of time, energy investing in it. Doesn't just happen overnight by any means. And most people don't want to do the work. Let's just be honest. It took that years? I don't know. It seems like a lot of work. Maybe I'll pass. It allows you to really understand how good that you have some things, or maybe how bad, right? Maybe how bad. Maybe there has been stuff that you've been avoiding and putting your head in the sand about, My husband's mom passed away almost a year ago. And Jane was a wonderful mom and wonderful woman, and she did the best that she could raising her 4 kids. My husband Ed is the youngest of 4. And she buried her head in the sand when it came to finances. And I get it, because my parents did the same thing, and Ed and I did the same thing for a period of time. Went through a bankruptcy about 3-4 years into practice. Like, it's brutal. But we avoided a lot of that stuff. I didn't want to think about it. And so the contrast now, when we have money that flows into our life on an abundant basis, that we create, that we're consistent with, that we provide value for others who pay us money for our services, products, and coaching, I'm thankful for, because I remember when it was fucking bad. So the same way that, I remember fucking creditors calling. I remember feeling stressed every morning going, how many things are not going through the account today? And that being the first thing that I would check every single morning when I got up. I remember those times. To the point of it's still, a trigger at times if anything does come up where it's like, oh my God, does that mean something's bad? When it's clearly not, but it's still some trigger and stuff that I'm healing through, even though that was like 10 years ago. So I can do the opposite of this in that, man, I remember how shitty it was and how much better that it is now. And that it took work to get to this place. So the same way that I can really be thankful and grateful for where I've been in my body, all the time that I've invested in to have my body function and feel as incredible as it does, to now have the opposite of that, which is what I'm experiencing. And to be thankful for the way that my body normally does operate. So here's your more tip for today then, sister. Where are you experiencing contrast in your life? Where is that? See, sometimes we'll tend to resist it and push against it and ask, why is this happening to me? And I mean, when this stuff came up with this sciatica, it's like, well, it actually makes a lot of sense, because that's my right leg, that's my back leg in fight stance. And let me see, do I even stretch anymore? Not really. Like, what was I thinking? Not that my body felt tight or sore, it actually didn't. It felt great and flexible and free and amazing. She feels way better boxing than it ever did when I used to lift. But where is that contrast for you right now, sister? And so here's the second piece of this. I want you to journal about that contrast. What is that thing that's coming up that is the opposite, it's in contrast to how you normally live your life? Journal about that for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's it. 10 minutes to really see what insights come up from that. See, I truly believe and know that these things in life are gifts for us to see something. And I mean that in the most practical sense. They are gifts. They're things for us to see. Right? So the thing for me to see was, number one, the gratitude for how my body normally functions and feels. And number two was a realization that, you know what, I'm clearly not giving my body the recovery that it needs with the intensity of boxing. Because I normally just bounce back like a rubber band, like so quickly from things. And I realized that just because that's happening doesn't mean my body doesn't need more recovery time. So I'm really going to, from this and how I'm applying this to my life, particularly with my body, is I'm going to be now doing mobility work daily, foam rolling daily. If you've done foam rolling, it hurts like a motherfucker, but it's incredibly effective. Simple thing for me to do every single day. Right? So what is that contrast in your life? Like, identify it. And then number two, to journal about it for the next 10 minutes. To really see what lessons and what gift is in there for you. See, all these life experiences, sister, they're not to be like, oh my God, life is so hard. Yeah, it is fucking hard. It is. But the thing is that there's gems in the heart. There's gifts in these. There's lessons for us to see. But we have to be willing to open up our eyes and be present to them and be open to them. And not just go, fuck me, poor me, this sucks. Because you can do that too, and that'll get you results. but you're missing the gem that's within there. It's like how they used to have with cereals, at least for me growing up, where it's like they would have some little prize in the bottom of it or somewhere in it. It's like you're missing the prize of it. You've gone through all the struggle and you're missing the prize in the cereal box and the Cracker Jacks. Like, see the lesson. It's beauty in this shit. Beauty. And powerful things for us to really see in the contrast. So I know you've heard me talk about the sisterhood sister. Here's my question to you. Why the fuck aren't you there yet? There's a number of you that are, but holy shit. I mean, this is really women who are committed to figuring out what they want, why it matters. Doing the steps to actually get it in a powerful group of women that are like them. Being around others that are like you, sister, is everything. So if you've been listening to this podcast, this is the first episode or the 101st or, geez, it'll be almost 301st. This is episode, I don't know if this will be 298 or 299. And you want to really take this to the next level, then you need to be in the sisterhood. That's it. You get to try it for free for 7 days. And after that, it's like $47 a month. Ridiculous. And actually, many of you that opt in choose the annual option, which saves you an additional 72%. So there is no excuse to not being in the sisterhood if you want to take what you're learning and actually begin to apply it to your life. See, there's insight from the podcast. I have some that'll like tag me on Instagram and Facebook, and that's like totally cool, and I appreciate it. And I love everyone that listens to the podcast and go, great, I'm like getting pumped up and motivated. I'm like, cool. But if you don't do something with it, what the fuck? Then it's just like pump without purpose, right? So go on over to drkarenojman.com/sisterhood, and you can sign up for your 7-day free trial today. And I'll be excited to see you there. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.